Well, thank you for hopping on the show. Thank you for agreeing to come on. You're a very busy guy. So, just a quick intro, who you are, so that people who are watching,
Yeah.
I'm sure they know you, but
I don't know. My name is Leonard Griffin, the head coach for the Cal men's soccer team in California.
former MLS,
Former MLS player, yeah, former MLS
LA
player.
Galaxy.
LA
Heard all the
Galaxy.
stories.
Too many teams, LA Galaxy, Chicago Fire, Portland Timbers. So, yeah.
Hey, where did you play in college?
I did. I played college at UCLA.
Ah, okay. So did you get drafted to a Galaxy or
To Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago, man? So playing in LA Galaxy was like a dream.
Yeah, hometown team. I grew up in Southern California, so playing for the Galaxy was like
The dream come true.
dream come true.
Was that towards the end of your career? Or?
Right about in the middle. Right in the middle.
Let's go straight into it. You're a Division I coach. What is something that players think they know about D1 that's totally wrong? Players who've never played, coming into college or looking at college soccer on TV, international or foreign or local players. What's something they think they know about college soccer that's completely wrong?
Yeah. Gosh, I think nowadays, youth talent has grown tremendously in our country when I was even a player. And so it used to be, the thought that college player was the direct pathway to become a pro. Nowadays, kids have a lot more opportunity to be professionals without going to college through their academy, going to Europe. And so I think sometimes the perception is that going to college is a step back. I kind of disagree with that. I think that's the part that I feel like is wrong. I think college still is a very important development platform for most players to continue to grow, not just technically, tactically, and through your soccer, but also to grow just mentally and physically as well to help prepare yourselves to be a professional player. So I think college is still very much a very positive development platform to help players go on to play at the next level.
So you think is college helping them? Because I believe I think you're right. I think college just helps them, even aside from the skill and talent, just the discipline of waking up at 6 a.m. to go to practice, doing your runs or going to the gym, like the habits. College, you're kind of forced to do that.
Yeah.
Where if you're playing in high school and you go straight professional, you're never really in that environment where you have to wake up at a certain time, or you have to be there at a certain time. If not, you're running or you're sprinting or you're missing the game. So I agree. If a player has opportunity to sign, let's say MLS Next Pro, or go to there's so many teams now. Let's say an ACC team, like Berkeley, for instance. As a parent and as a coach, you give them two separate advices, like, hey, this is your offer. It only comes once. You say, hey, go the college route. You might get a pro contract after, you might not.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because a lot of players are facing that.
Yeah, no, a lot of the top talent here in our country are facing that kind of choice between MLS X Pro, like a second team contract, or go to college and still try to pursue your goals. I would answer it very biasly, probably, but I think it's also I think a lot would agree that most players that end up becoming professionals are going to end up being professional in something else outside of their soccer careers, right? And most are probably not going to make enough money to set themselves up for the rest of their lives. And so that's where I think the college degree and the importance of your education is what's really going to help you have your long life career. Of course, I think it's important and awesome to go and get that professional contract right away. And I also think that you can still pursue, professional opportunity while going to college and getting your degree. And case in point, even at our school, and I've seen it at many schools, where guys are still earning, second team contracts, even first team contracts after their 4 years of college.
Yeah. So in college, especially now with all these new recruiting stuff, do you still think it's a good option for someone to decide to go to college and play 3-4 years maybe? And do you think that's a good plan or path for them? Because you play college, graduate high school at 18, play college for 4 years, you come out when you're 22. You only have, 6 years, 7 years at the pro level, as opposed to not going to college or playing college being a one and done. Do you think playing your 4 years at the right program, of course, will help you actually have a better 7 years in your MLS or USL or even Europe?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's better to just do 1 year in college and then, go to a pro team and then use those next 2 years to develop in that professional environment and then
it's tough. I don't think there's any one answer. I think everybody's path is completely different. I think there are some success stories where players don't go to college or they go for 1 year and then, earn a professional contract and they go on to have, 8+ year careers. Yeah. And then there are those that, choose not to go to college and end up trying the pro route. And maybe they are a pro for 1, 2, 3 years and find themselves at, a men's league team because they keep, chasing the dream. And so I would say the success stories, in my opinion, that we hear those more often, but we don't hear as much of the unsuccessful stories of the kids that don't make it before college. And so I think every kid, every family has to make the decision that they feel is best for themselves to go on and be successful. And everybody's financial situation is different. Some have the luxury where they might need to go and earn money right away. Some might be okay and they can pursue a pro degree knowing they have a safety net. And some might just want to make sure they, thinking long term, have the backup of the college degree and still work hard to earn a professional contract while also setting up a wonderful backup plan for themselves. So it's hard to say. Everybody's plan, everybody's path is so different, and so it's always a tough decision though for the player and the family to come up with what's best for them.
I think like you said, essentially they have to make a decision that they're comfortable living. Like you can't listen to. Obviously, a coach will say, "Hey, come and play for me." And obviously, a professional coach will like, "Hey, don't go to college." And so it is a tough position for the player and the family, but they ultimately have to just make a decision that they're okay living with, right? Because they say, I chose to go there and not, this coach told me to come here and then this happened.
And hopefully everyone has, whatever the option they select, that there is some sort of backup plan where they're starting to think past. Because listen, I work with kids, between 18 and 22, and it's hard for them to see 5 minutes in the future, let alone 20 years into the future. Right. Yeah. And so it's trying to get young adults to understand, thinking the long term sometimes.
And that brings me to my next question. So, for you as a coach currently in college, how does recruiting look like for you? And when I ask that, I'm also asking, for instance, like you said, players don't really look into the future. Some players will come in and do any major. They just want to play. Some players, would come to like a school like Berkeley because it has a great alumni network. Some schools will come to, again, like a Berkeley or a Boston College away because it's an ACC school. What kind of things do you consider and look for in recruits, potential recruits, guys you're looking at? Because especially now with the new limitations, 28-man rosters, potential eligibility changes. What does recruiting look like for you?
I mean, I'll be pretty kind of straight to the point, and you probably heard me say this before, but we kind of look for 3 things, right? Obviously, number one, I don't put them in any particular order, but I'll start with the soccer, right? We do want players that do have ambition to play professionally and move on, and we want players, and most D1 players, especially in the ACC, would want players that have that ambition, right? Because they know they're soccer serious. So that's important. Their obviously tactical ability, their physical ability is super important, and things that we look for. The next part, obviously, is their academics, right? Obviously, it's a university, and you want to make sure that the kid values academics to some point, and hopefully puts in as much effort in the classroom as they do on the soccer field, especially as a high academic school. Case in point, Berkeley. And then the last thing, obviously, for us and most coaches, I would say, is character, right? You want kids that have high character, that have values of integrity, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, leadership, all those things that are going to make good players in the locker room. And if we can have a team full of high character individuals, we feel that, that generally will lead, to
fully equipped,
successful. And just people that you want to be around in general, that you want to work with and are ambitious and hungry to continue to improve every day.
So I'm assuming you've had scenarios, situations where there's a player that's really good, but is probably not a good locker room guy. At the end of the season, is the approach from the coaching staff like, hey, you have to change to be here, or Is it? Which is the thing is there are teams where they have a star player and that guy's arrogant, he's rude, whatever, but he's gonna give them 10 goals.
Yeah.
How, in college soccer, how do you think? Yeah, how do you approach situations like as a coach?
Yeah.
Because you're essentially losing a guy. It's hard to get a guy to come in and score 10 goals. It's hard to get a guy to come in and score from 5 in like an ACC conference. And so, how do you approach a situation like that as a coach in that level?
Well, I'll preface by saying, I think most coaches and myself and our staff included would try to do our best in the recruiting process to really vet character so that we don't even run into that problem by the time we get there. And so we try to do our best to get to know the player, their parents, their coaches, and what other people say about them as a person. And so well before they step foot on campus. And so that I think is a really important part of the process to hopefully not have to deal with that later. In saying that, obviously, you always have to put the team first. And I think as coaches, we understand that these are all kids that are still learning and growing. And so I think our first instinct is to try and help players that might not be the right fit in a particular moment and give them the benefit of the doubt. And we don't feel we're just coaches, but teachers as well. And, try to help them through life lessons to help them, contribute to a team and be a part of a team. And at the end of the day, if putting a lot of time, energy, and effort into a player, then obviously we have to do what's best for the team and make a decision that might not fit that individual.
Again, this is my next question. The transfer portal, coach, for a while, you've kind of seen different rules and different ways they approach it. There's a window and a portal more. How important is the portal for you as a coach? How important is it as a tool? And how it is now, is it how do I phrase this? The portal has changed a lot. Do you prefer the old model, this model? Is that, as a coach, you could play a whole season and you don't know your guys are about to get in, whereas before they just declare earlier on. How does the portal affect, or what do you think about the portal currently?
Yeah, it's like the portal's kind of the Wild West now, right? I think the players have a lot of say into where they want to be, where they want to play, and can kind of leave essentially on a whim. And so it changes the recruiting landscape quite a bit. I'm a huge proponent of building culture and building and developing players. Ideally, that's what you want to do over the course of a player's 4 years that you get to spend with them. And so having the portal and where you get kids as fast as in one semester and then gone, it changes the whole dynamics of recruiting. And so
it puts you as a coach in a tough position because maybe you invest a full ride and this guy he leaves at the end of December.
Absolutely.
And you can't replace him by January or whatever. Like it's crazy. Like I said, Wild West.
Yeah. Now, as much as I love the old model and bringing a player in for 4 years or finding a recruit that you see something in, that you feel that they could help you, maybe not their first year or second year, maybe you feel like they have potential to be amazing their third or fourth year, which has been the case for a lot who grow in college. Now you also have to balance it. I think that's what the word that we try to use in the recruiting process and with the portal is, how do we balance bringing in players that we can have for a longer period of time, continue to develop, and add players that we feel can come and impact the team right away. So,
but with the way and the trend everything is going, isn't it to the disadvantage of like high school kids, where now in the 28-man roster, in that 28-man roster, probably 3 are goalkeepers, so 25 are outfield guys who deal with injuries and eligibilities. Just players not even being up to the standard. Like, as a young player, 18 or 17, come out of high school, isn't that a disadvantage to them? Like, how do you?
Yeah, it very much can be. I think that, again, every program is different. There are some programs that build their entire rosters from internationals and transfer portal, and so that is obviously lessen the amount of opportunity for high school players to come in and be impactful players at the D1 level. So that's part of the changes in recruiting, whereas high school players are now looking at different opportunities, whether it's a gap year program, some in Europe, some here in the States, whether it's playing in kind of men's league UPSL or the junior college level. Also now are different pathways to go continue your development, to kind of make yourselves more, I guess, D1 ready and
D1
more
ready, right,
competitive against those internationals and transfers. So it's changing. It's a changing landscape, and I think that's the path or the pathway that some are still trying to figure out from the high school level.
So there's still hope for some of them.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, again, for at least for us and for many coaches, it's okay. How do we continue in this landscape to build a competitive roster? And depending on the coach's beliefs, some still wholeheartedly believe in just bringing in true freshmen and developing them. Some like a balance, and some want to go all international and transfer. So I think for potential student athletes looking for colleges, it's important to look at the landscape of a roster of schools that they're interested in and see how our program's recruiting and what does that look like for them if they're interested in that school.
Do you have any freshmen coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So far, every year we continue to try to find the best talent that we can, young talent that we can, that we feel we can continue to build a culture and a team around, and how do we always add players that can come be impactful right away. So we like to have a balance as best we can.
I mean, at Berkeley, you have so many options. Like in the Bay Area, I feel like there's a lot of good teams on offense. San Jose Earthquakes, Sac Republic, Oakland Roots, Project 510. Like there's a lot of teams that have a lot of good young players. So I think in the Bay Area specifically, like there's a lot of players that are of the level, I think. And then even just outside the Bay, you have LA, you have SoCal, you have the Arizona. What's another West? There's a lot of talent available on the western side. But going from you were coaching at USF to now Cal Berkeley, what is the main difference, would you say, between the ACC and the WCC? Like, what is something that, some things that could happen in WCC where it affects your recruiting, your play style, as opposed to the ACC where you can or can't do? What would you say is the key difference between those two conferences?
Now, I mean, I'll preface by saying the WCC, since I've coached in the WCC, has improved tremendously and have added a really good talent from here in the West. I think Denver, I heard potentially Santa Barbara, got Portland, who's made the Elite Eight twice now. So they've improved tremendously. And I would say that one's the history of the ACC and the talent that has come through the ACC. I think might be second to none in the country, and so every game is extremely competitive. Every team has a chance to make the NCAA tournament. We have 15 teams, and I think, 2 years ago, I think 12 of the 15 made the NCAA tournament. I think last year maybe 8 or 9 made the NCAA tournament. So the majority are making the NCAA tournament, and I think that's usually kind of what separates, the ACC is the amount of teams that end up being tournament eligible at the end of the season.
Yeah. So I mean, because does the ACC get more bids to go, or is it fully just based on the RPI?
Exactly.
And every year they're just in there. So
it's
interesting. Since I've come to America, like Wake Forest, the Clemsons, the NC State is in ACC now, right? Like the ACC has just been like a staple standard. A lot of pros in Europe even played in the ACC, like Jack Harrison. What's that guy?
Daniel that played at Syracuse.
The Ghanaian guy. So speaking about those type of guys, so for a player going to play in college, what would you say they have to do to go pro? And I know it's different for everyone, but what would you say if you could outline like 3, 4, 5 things? What did they have to do? What kind of achievements did they have to get to make it to the pro level? Like for a striker, center back, center mid, what does that kind of look like? Because I know being in the draft, a lot of teams are making calls to coaches and the conference, not just the coach of the player, asking what they think about them. And what goes into a player coming to Berkeley or coming to NC State or coming to USF, and 3 years later he's professional. What goes into those things? What determines?
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be the best, right? You got to stand out at the end of the day. And coaches look for what is a player's super strength. I think the ACC sometimes gets a reputation, to be super physical and athletic to play in the ACC, and I'm sure that's true. There are some phenomenal athletes in the ACC, but there's also some phenomenal soccer players that might not be the most athletic, but their super strength is their technical ability on the ball, or the ability to finish the final product, or their ability to make the big block at the right time, and so what is the player's super strength, and how do you separate yourself with that super strength compared to the rest of the people that you're competing with. And I think all the coaches in the ACC or Big Ten or any conference want players that can come and use that super strength to make their teams better. And I think right now you're finding some of those in some of the bigger programs, but if you look at some of the smaller programs too, they've done a good job of identifying players and bringing out the best of their super strength to get results for their team.
So yeah, just be the best, pretty much. Yeah.
So
stats. Is it normal for a striker to go a season, maybe an upperclassman, senior or junior, score 10 goals, 15 goals, or whatever, and not get drafted? Is that weird? Is that uncommon? Because for strikers, it's a lot of times like 50% of it is goals. Right?
Yeah. Stats help, and if you're getting high double-digit goals, I mean, you're going to get noticed, and you're going to turn the heads at least of pro scouts and coaches and things. And so it just depends on what coaches at the pro level are looking for and what their need is. But if you're scoring goals like that at the college level, chances are you're going to get a look probably no matter which program you're playing for.
So I've seen this.
If you find one, let me know. Let me know, please.
15?
15 would be good.
Yeah, coming soon. I'm trying to think. So I know that again, there's no real one answer to this, but if you're scoring, let's say 12 goals in the Horizon League, or you're scoring maybe 6, 7 in the ACC, just on paper, without even looking, let's say similar play style, whatever, exact type of play profile. Scouts would probably take the ACC guy because of competition. What do you think about that?
That's a tough question. I think that's going to be. I'll use MLS. I think it's going to depend on the knowledge kind of MLS scouts and coaching staffs to know who that player has been playing against, how much they've actually seen them play, what is the strength of that Horizon League schedule, because some of the Horizon League might schedule a super hard non-conference schedule, and maybe that player scored a good amount on them. How are they scoring the goals? Are they creating goals for themselves? Are they poachers in the box? So there's a lot that goes into whether a professional team takes the ACC striker or the Horizon League striker.
And I'm just saying Horizon League,
I'm just continuing with the example, of course. And so, it's a tough question to pinpoint the answer on that. For real, I mean, I think both can be top strikers.
Because I'm thinking of what's the Donovan Phillip from NC State. He was playing at Oakland University in the Horizon. I don't even know how many he scored that time, but obviously at NC State he went and did 2 years there. But in the second year, he's like, I don't know if he scored up to double digits, but he did a really good job. And so for me, as an agency side, sometimes it's hard because you see a player that does that in that league. But the common thing is, it's because that league is so easy, or because he's not playing against the toughest competition. But those type of players can still go to ACC school and then kill it. So
if you can score double-digit goals at the D1 level in any conference, I mean, I think there's something special about that player, and so I think they'll get noticed. If they start to do that, you can go do it at the ACC, and obviously it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get to the final section, it's just for people who are not playing in college right now, players who are maybe trying to play in college or in Europe or foreign abroad and about to graduate. What is something they should be doing right now if their goal is to play college at a high level D1 or a good level Division 2? What is something that they should be doing right now in case they're not doing it just from a coaching perspective?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost is some players think the coaches are always going to come find them and present them with an opportunity to go play at their schools. I think kids should definitely be proactive in the recruiting process and make sure they're reaching out to coaches via email, talking with their current club team coaches and using their club team coaches as a network to help open doors for them and make sure their basically resumes go at the top of the pile and that they can be seen. And in saying that, they have to make sure they're putting themselves in places where there's going to be college coaches that see them, whether that's at a big tournament, a showcase event, or ID camps. You have to get in front of college coaches and play the best you can so that you get noticed and you can get college opportunities. So I think that's super important, and the communication that you have with college coaches is super important. And aside from that, obviously, like the three things that I look for: make sure your grades are top and don't slack off in the classroom, because some kids might not take their grades seriously in their first year, second year, even third year, and then all of a sudden they're it's going into their senior year and they're like, oh shoot, I gotta try to go to college, and sometimes it could be too late. So grades are super important. Keep your grades up. Obviously, on the soccer side, fitness is important. Always be on the ball and working on your ball ability, and then continue to just be a good person and enjoy the game. I think that's awesome.
Okay, this is the last section. Rapid fire.
Oh boy.
Only a couple. Only the 5. Okay. Best player you've coached.
Ooh, man, I am on the hot seat now, huh? As an assistant or head coach? Wow.
Let's do it in general.
In general.
Okay, we do one as assistant.
I would probably say when I was an assistant at UCLA, we had a player, Leo Stolz, and he won the Backherman that year. It was from Germany. He was an exceptional player and a huge part of the success of helping that team reach it all the way to the national final.
What school was this?
UCLA.
Okay. Yeah. And how about as a head coach?
As a head coach, is maybe as much as these drive me crazy, I gotta give a shout out to my man Nanso. Nanso.
Well, I'll send his video to it.
Send the video, and it's just been great to see him grow as a person. He's probably the kid that I've worked with the longest, and he's a good example of a player that didn't score the most amount of goals, but put in hard work every single day. Yeah. Thankfully, earned a professional contract at the second team level, and then
now he's in the first team.
After a fantastic first season with the second team.
He broke like a lot of records.
Yeah.
I was texting him just the other day.
And so it's testament to his character and work rate.
And you flew to watch him play high school in Florida or something.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I got his video, and I was there maybe days later.
He said the story that you brought USF and then to Berkeley. Yeah. Okay. Second question: hardest team you've played against as a coach and as a player? We can do it.
Yeah. Wow, man. I'll start as a coach. Played against some really, really good teams along the way. Obviously, playing the likes of Stanford year in, year out for so long is always a tough game.
Machine,
right? Exactly. So those are always tough games. Washington, back in the old Pac-12, were some tough games, but gosh, now take your pick in the ACC. Every single game is tough, and the ones that stick out are the Clemsons. Playing Clemson in the ACC semifinal 2 years ago, that team was phenomenal. Had some really top individual talent.
Was it 2-1 or something?
2-1.
2-1, yeah. I remember,
close game, but they were phenomenal. This past season, SMU and Virginia also, 2 class teams that were really tough to play against.
Okay. And then.
Well, can I say as a player?
As a player,
I'm pat myself on the back, but no, as a player, as you know, I mentioned playing with the LA Galaxy, we had the likes to play against, Barcelona, AC Milan. So
you told the story.
We're on the same field as Lionel Messi and Ronaldinho at AC Milan.
So you played against Messi?
I'm gonna go ahead and not pat myself on the back. I was on the bench. I played the second half. Messi came out at halftime, but I did get to play against Barcelona in the Rose Bowl.
Well, you played against Ronaldinho?
Ronaldinho when he was at AC Milan.
Milan, yeah. And there was someone. You told us a story. There was someone else that what did he do? You told us a story at camp.
It was probably Ronaldinho's story. Because we got to hang out with him and talk with him a little bit after the game. Obviously, David Beckham. Beckham was on our team at the LA Galaxy. So just to be around like those soccer legends, and I could have retired and hung up the jersey right after those games for sure.
Did you say something about? Or I heard somewhere that when he played on LA Galaxy, David Beckham, his teammates didn't even have his number. Like you had to talk to his assistant or something. Is that true?
I'm sure some of the guys on the team had his number. I was very low on the totem pole back then. And we got a message from his personal assistant to go and meet up with he and the AC Milan team at the time. And so we didn't think
It's
anything
an
of it. We were just like,
experience,
we'll
yeah.
go.
We'll go.
Yeah. It was an experience for sure.
Okay. Now this one, I don't want to hurt anyone, but what do you think is the easiest position to play in college soccer?
Ooh,
I know
easiest.
everyone is hard. Every
Yeah.
position is hard, yes. But what do you think is the least hard? Let me put it like that.
In college, God, it's hard, man. They're all pretty tough in their own way, but I mean, I would say like if you have a good defense, then goalkeeper is the hardest, right? They get to stop you. You know, if you have some amazing wingers that cross the ball well, then maybe the strikers, all you got to do is tap it in the goal. So
okay.
I don't know, maybe
it depends.
It depends.
On the team.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last one. Who is a player that you would never forget playing against as a coach? Like a player as you were coaching, a player that has given your team maybe a hard time, maybe 2 seasons in a row, or as a player you would never forget playing against.
I mean, I remember. I'll give a couple examples, but the ones that pop up right away. Jordan Morris, when he was at Stanford and the battles against UCLA, he was a handful in college. And
is he just pro right now?
He's a pro at Seattle.
Sounders. Yeah, he's not familiar.
He's played the national team a bit. He got on the national team while he was in college at Stanford.
Wow.
So
he was the senior national team.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was a handful in college level. Scored a lot of goals against us, unfortunately. And then most recently, man, this kid at Clemson runs for a GN.
Francis the Ghanaian. Hey, you got to get yours, man. I told you, let's go to Nigeria.
Trust me, I've been to Ghana like 3 times
Trying
already.
to find yours?
Trying to find them.
You got to come to Nigeria, man.
Hopefully they're coming soon. Nigeria, give me some connections.
Let's go, man. I want to go.
I would love to.
But yeah, that's it, man. Thank you for helping out.
My pleasure.
We went over a lot of stuff that people just.
Is there anything else that
No. That's it. Pretty much, yeah. That's, we've maybe you make a second episode sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I think we went over a lot of stuff. So that I think people need to know that they don't know.
Yeah.
Testing their level, being ready to go. College, if it's not D1 right away, like you said, go to the JUCO route.
Yeah.
Gap years. And, just people getting to know who Coach Griffin is. So thank you for helping out, and appreciate your time.
My pleasure, man. Thank you, and look forward to following you, man, in your career, and all the best to you in Miami. And don't forget about us small folks back here in the Bay.
I would.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.